For 21 years, he never mentioned his first son. Until a quiet visit broke the internet. The silence. For 21 years, Elon Musk said nothing. Not a tweet. Not a whisper. Not even a name. About the child he lost. In a world where every thought, every opinion, every fleeting emotion gets broadcasted to millions of followers, this silence was deafening. This was a man who shared his dreams of Mars, his fears about artificial intelligence, his late-night thoughts about the meaning of existence. But about his first son? Nothing. Complete silence. The internet knew everything about Elon Musk. His companies. His relationships. His Twitter storms at 3 a.m. They knew he had children with different women. They knew their names, their ages, some of their faces. But there was one name that never appeared in any biography, any interview, any casual mention. Nevada. Nevada Alexander Musk. The beginning. The story begins in 2000, when Elon Musk was still just another tech entrepreneur with big dreams and bigger ambitions. PayPal was growing. The internet boom was in full swing. Elon was 29 years old, married to Justine Wilson, and for the first time in his life, he was thinking about family. Not just companies. Not just innovations. Not just changing the world. But about becoming a father. "I want to have children," he told Justine during one of their quiet evenings in their Palo Alto home. "I want to build something that lasts beyond companies and rockets." Justine smiled. She had seen this side of Elon before, the dreamer who could envision not just electric cars and space travel, but a future filled with laughter in tiny hands and bedtime stories. "Then let's build a family," she said. But first came loss. Their first pregnancy ended in miscarriage. The kind of pain that couples rarely talk about publicly, but that changes everything privately. Elon, who had always been able to solve problems through sheer force of will and intellectual brilliance, encountered something that couldn't be fixed with algorithms or disrupted with innovation. Grief. But they tried again. And in 2002, their persistence was rewarded. Nevada Alexander Musk was born on a sunny California morning in May. 10 fingers. 10 toes. Eyes that seemed to take in the whole world with curious intensity. Elon held him for the first time and experienced something he had never felt before, a love that was bigger than ambition, deeper than achievement, more terrifying than any business risk he had ever taken. "He's perfect," Elon whispered to Justine. "Absolutely perfect. The unthinkable." For 10 weeks, life was everything they had dreamed it would be. Elon would come home from long days at PayPal and immediately go to Nevada's crib. He would talk to his son about rockets and electric cars and the future they would build together. Someday, he would say, holding Nevada against his chest, "You're going to help Daddy put people on Mars. We're going to change the world together." Nevada would look up at him with those bright, curious eyes, as if he understood every word. Justine would find them like that, sometimes Elon asleep in the rocking chair, Nevada peaceful on his father's chest, both of them breathing in perfect synchronization. "You're going to be an amazing dad," she told him one evening. Elon smiled. "I'm going to give him everything. Every opportunity. Every adventure. The whole universe." The future stretched out before them, bright and endless and full of possibility. But the universe had other plans. On a quiet Wednesday morning in July 2002, when Nevada was just 10 weeks old, Justine found him in his crib. Silent. Still. Gone. Sudden infant death syndrome. SIDS. A medical term that explained nothing and everything at the same time. No warning. No symptoms. No way to predict it, prevent it, or understand it. One moment, a healthy baby sleeping peacefully. The next moment, a silence that would echo for decades. The call to 911. The paramedics rushing through their front door. The desperate attempts at resuscitation that Elon knew, even as they happened, were already too late. The drive to the hospital where doctors would confirm what every parent's heart already knows when it stops beating in sync with their child's. Nevada Alexander Musk was pronounced dead at 10:47 a.m. on July 15, 2002. He was 10 weeks and 3 days old. Building walls. What happens to a man who has spent his entire life believing that every problem has a solution? What happens when the problem is grief, and the solution is acceptance, and acceptance feels like betrayal? Elon Musk did what Elon Musk always did when faced with something he couldn't control. He worked. PayPal consumed him. 18-hour days became 20-hour days. The office became his refuge, the place where problems had solutions and hard work led to results. At home, Nevada's nursery remained exactly as it was. Justine couldn't bear to change it. Elon couldn't bear to look at it. They moved around the house like ghosts, each lost in their own version of pain, unable to bridge the distance that grief had created between them. Friends tried to help. Family tried to understand. Therapists tried to guide them through the process of healing. But Elon had already made a decision that he wouldn't fully understand for 21 years. He would never speak Nevada's name again. Not because he didn't love his son, but because speaking the name made the loss real in a way that silence never could. Not because he wanted to forget, but because remembering hurt in ways that even his exceptional mind couldn't process. So he buried Nevada's memory as deep as his pain, and built his empire on top of the silence. Tesla was founded in 2003. Every electric car that rolled off the production line was, in some unspoken way, a monument to the future Nevada would never see. SpaceX launched its first rocket in 2006. Every mission to space carried, in some invisible compartment, the dreams of a father who had once promised his son the stars. The photograph. Years passed. Elon remarried. Had more children. Built more companies. Became the richest man in the world. The media followed his every move, documented his every relationship, analyzed his every tweet. But Nevada remained invisible. A name that never appeared in any interview, any biography, any casual conversation about family. Until July 15, 2023. 21 years to the day after Nevada's death. A single photograph appeared on a little-known photography blog, taken by someone with a long-lens camera who happened to be in the right place at the right time. The image was simple, almost mundane. A man in a black Tesla hoodie, standing alone in a California cemetery. In front of a small, modest gravestone. No security detail. No entourage. No cameras except for the one hidden behind distant trees. Just Elon Musk, by himself, in the quietest moment anyone had ever captured of him. The gravestone was simple. White marble. A name carved in elegant letters. Nevada Alexander Musk, May 18, 2002 to July 15, 2002, beloved son. Below that, a single line that no one had ever seen before. You were perfect. You are loved. You are remembered. The photographer, a freelancer named Marcus Chen, later wrote about what he witnessed. I was there to photograph celebrity graves for a magazine piece. I had no idea who the man was until I looked through my telephoto lens. When I realized it was Elon Musk, I almost didn't take the shot. There was something so private, so sacred about the moment. He stood there for almost an hour. He didn't speak. He didn't cry, at least not that I could see. He just stood. Like he was having a conversation that only he could hear. At one point, he knelt down and placed his hand on the gravestone. And for just a moment, the most powerful man in tech looked like what he really was, a father missing his child. The internet breaks. Within hours of the photograph being published, the internet exploded. #NevadaMusk began trending worldwide. People who had followed Elon's career for decades suddenly understood the missing piece of his story. The driven intensity. The relentless work ethic. The way he seemed to be running towards something or away from something with every company he built. Comments flooded social media. I had no idea he had lost a child. This explains so much about his drive to secure humanity's future. 21 years of silence. That's not avoidance, that's the deepest kind of love. No wonder he wants to make life multiplanetary. He's trying to make sure no other child runs out of time. But Elon himself said nothing about the photograph. No tweet explaining his visit. No statement from his representatives. No interview clarifying his intentions. The same silence that had protected Nevada's memory for 2 decades continued to protect it now. The understanding. But those who knew Elon best began to see the signs of something shifting. Grimes, the mother of 2 of his children, noticed it first. He started talking about legacy differently. Not just what we leave behind in terms of companies or innovations, but what we leave behind in terms of love. In terms of making sure that the people we care about know they matter. Justine Musk, Nevada's mother, who had rarely spoken publicly about their first child, posted a simple message on her blog. Grief has its own timeline. Love has its own language. Some people process loss by talking about it constantly. Others honor memory through silence and action. Neither way is wrong. Both ways are love. Friends at SpaceX began to notice subtle changes in how Elon talked about their mission. Where he once spoke about making humanity multiplanetary as a hedge against extinction, he now spoke about it as a way to give every child, including those not yet born, more time, more possibilities, more chances to become who they were meant to be. Every day we delay is a day that someone doesn't get to see the stars, he said during a company meeting. Time is the most precious resource in the universe. We can't waste it. Continuing love. In the months following the cemetery photograph, other details emerged. Nevada's grave, which had always been well maintained, began to show signs of regular visits. Fresh flowers appeared monthly, always on the 15th of each month. Small toys were sometimes left by the headstone, not childish toys, but sophisticated models of rockets and electric cars, the kind an engineer might appreciate. A groundskeeper at the cemetery, speaking anonymously, revealed, someone's been coming regularly for years. Always alone. Always quiet. Never stays long, but never rushes either. It's like they're having important conversations that take exactly as long as they need to take. The inscription on Nevada's headstone, which the photograph had revealed for the first time, raised questions. When had it been added? The original stone had been simple, just name and dates. Cemetery records showed that the inscription had been updated in 2020, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, when the world was confronting mortality in ways it hadn't in generations. The timing wasn't coincidental. When the world was forced to confront how quickly life could change, Elon had finally found the words he'd been searching for 18 years. Linking to Vivian. The Nevada story took on new meaning when viewed alongside another family silence that had recently been broken. Just 1 year before the cemetery photograph surfaced, Elon's daughter Vivian had legally changed her name and distanced herself from her father. The internet had been quick to judge, to take sides, to turn a private family matter into a public battle. But the Nevada revelation recontextualized everything. This was a man who had learned, through the most devastating loss imaginable, that love doesn't always look the way we expect it to. That sometimes the deepest care expresses itself through silence and space rather than words and presence. That honoring someone doesn't always mean holding on, sometimes it means letting go. The cryptic tweet Elon had posted after Vivian's name change, "Love is sometimes about letting go. Even if it tears you apart," suddenly made perfect sense. This wasn't just about his transgender daughter. This was about a father who had learned, through 21 years of grieving his first son, that love has many languages. Sometimes love speaks through presence. Sometimes it speaks through absence. Sometimes it speaks through decades of silence that protect memory more fiercely than any words ever could. The pattern. Looking back through the lens of Nevada's story, Elon's entire career took on new dimensions. Tesla's mission to accelerate sustainable transport wasn't just about saving the planet, it was about buying time. Time for future generations who deserved the chance Nevada never got. SpaceX's push to make life multiplanetary wasn't just about human survival, it was about ensuring that no single event, no single tragedy, could cut short all the possibilities that children represent. Neuralink's work on brain-computer interfaces wasn't just about enhancing human capability, it was about fighting against the biological limitations that can steal children away in their sleep. Every company. Every innovation. Every sleepless night spent solving impossible problems. All of it could be traced back to a 10-week-old boy who had looked at his father with curious eyes and then, without warning, closed them forever. Nevada hadn't lived long enough to change the world. But his brief existence had changed the man who would go on to change everything else. The Eternal Father. Today, if you visit the cemetery where Nevada Alexander Musk rests, you might notice something that the viral photograph didn't capture. The gravestone faces east, toward the rising sun. Toward SpaceX's launch facilities at Kennedy Space Center. Toward the future that Nevada will never see, but that his father is building for every child who comes after. Every Tesla that drives silently through the night carries Nevada's memory in its electric heart. Every SpaceX rocket that lifts off toward the stars carries his name written in invisible ink across its hull. Every breakthrough in sustainable energy, every advancement in space technology, every step toward making humanity a multi-planetary species, all of it is, in some unspoken way, a father's love letter to a son who lived for 10 weeks but whose impact will last forever. Elon Musk may never speak Nevada's name in public. He may never grant interviews about his first son. He may never tweet about the child who taught him that some love is too deep for words. But every morning when he wakes up and decides to spend another day trying to secure humanity's future, he is speaking Nevada's name in the only language that matters. Action. Purpose. The relentless pursuit of more time for everyone else's children. Some fathers read bedtime stories to their sons. Elon Musk is writing humanity's next chapter. Some fathers teach their children to ride bicycles. Elon Musk is teaching our species to ride rockets to Mars. Some fathers promise their sons the moon. Elon Musk is actually trying to deliver it. Because when you lose a child, you don't just lose a person. You lose all the conversations you'll never have. All the adventures you'll never share. All the problems you'll never solve together. All the love you were preparing to give for the next 70 years gets compressed into a single, infinite moment. And then you have to figure out what to do with all that love. Elon Musk figured it out. He gave it to the future. He gave it to every child who will grow up in a world with clean air because of Tesla. To every child who will look up at Mars and know it's reachable because of SpaceX. To every child whose life will be extended and enhanced because technologies we can barely imagine today were born from a father's determination to make time itself more precious. Nevada Alexander Musk lived for 10 weeks and 3 days. But his impact will last as long as humans exist. Because love doesn't end when life does. Love transforms. Love becomes mission. Love becomes the force that drives a man to work 18 hours a day for 21 years, not because he has to, but because he promised a 10-week-old boy that he would change the world. And he's keeping that promise. One rocket at a time. One innovation at a time. One impossible dream at a time. The photograph of Elon standing at Nevada's grave will be remembered as one of the most powerful images of our time. Not because it captured a celebrity in a private moment, but because it revealed the human heart beating inside the world's most driven visionary. It showed us that behind every great achievement is often a great loss. Behind every revolutionary innovation is sometimes a revolutionary love. Behind every man trying to save the future is sometimes a father who couldn't save his past. And maybe that's the real story of Elon Musk. Not the story of a man who builds rockets and electric cars. But the story of a father who turns grief into gravity, loss into liftoff, silence into the most eloquent speech about love ever given. Because sometimes the loudest truths are the ones that are never spoken. Sometimes the most powerful words are the ones written in stardust and electric current and the tears of fathers who love their children too much to ever let them truly go. Nevada Alexander Musk. 10 weeks old. Forever young. Forever loved. Forever the reason why his father refuses to let humanity run out of time. In the end, maybe that's what all of this has been about. Not conquering Mars. Not revolutionizing transportation. Not becoming the richest man on Earth. But keeping a promise to a 10-week-old boy who trusted his father to make tomorrow better than today. Mission accomplished, Nevada. Mission still ongoing. Mission Eternal. This story was inspired by the emotional storytelling structure created by Luca McCung. If this story touched your heart, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Inside Musk. Let us know in the comments, which untold moment from Elon's life would you like to see next? Because sometimes silence holds the loudest truths.